Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, everyone. JLR investigates with the breaking news. Come on in, come on in. We have a situation unfolding nationwide, folks. There seems to be mass panic going on at local and national stores. A mass panic to buy toilet paper. We're going to talk about the toilet paper shortage that is going on. What in the world is going on right now? It seems like it's connected in a sense to this port strike that just happened yesterday at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday. And now in stores across America, I'm seeing more and more videos of people with shopping carts full of toilet paper. Costco and Walmart and many other stores. So let's talk. Why is this going on? What in the world is going on? And why are people mass buying toilet paper? Let's talk. Mass panic. So I titled this video Mass Panic. How's everyone doing today? Have you got your toilet paper? Because I actually went out this morning to get toilet paper. I went and got toilet paper. I followed the herd. Only because I remember back in 2020 with the COVID stuff, right? When the COVID stuff, everyone was, are we echoing? Are we okay on, are we okay right now on, communications? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me? Yes. Everyone can hear me. Mass hysteria. Hysteria. Yes. No echo. All right. Because I see some people saying echo sounds good. Echo. Charlie, Roger, all that. So, folks, there's a situation going on that's similar to what happened in 2020. I don't know if you guys remember, but I tried to get some water, toilet paper, paper towels, trash bags, these different products in 2020, and I couldn't get it. There was long lines, and they didn't have any. And it went to the point where they were saying two per customer, even with bread. Now, the ports are on strike. The port dock workers, a union, a big union, 45,000 plus workers went on strike, and it's affecting ports from Maine all the way to Texas. Many ports, including Tampa, we went boots on the ground yesterday and checked them out and actually talked to their local boss there who produced a statement. And it seems like this mass panic is connected to this strike. But here's the thing, folks, because a lot of, I kind of put this out on my personal Facebook page. I was like, those mass panic, everyone's trying to buy toilet paper. And people are like, toilet paper is made in the United States, the majority of it, like in Oklahoma and different plants. So what in the world is everyone trying to buy toilet paper for? Why are people trying to buy toilet paper? Now, there's many, many clips out there of mass panic. And I want to show you examples. They're all over the stores. They're all over the stores.
Long at Costco. It's freaking massive. Something's going on. I mean, look at it. And even snakes all the way from over there, back there, around here. I mean, it's going to take me literally more than a minute to walk all the way down.
Costco.
In case there's any good samples.
This was yesterday.
That's nuts.
October surprise. Toilet paper. Water.
Insane.
Why Costco, though? No, it's nothing to do with the hurricane, though, the stores up in the Carolinas bad. This has everything to do, it seems like, with everyone with this fear that, since the strike is going on with the ports, that they're going to start running out of things. So people are stocking up. I even got my toilet paper. I got posted, I got TP all the way to 2033. I got enough TP to last me to 2033 today. I got a lot.
By myself, I would have left the park.
People buying toilet paper.
So the line starts where this man is standing. It's I was by myself, I would have left the party and I would have done it. So there's all.
A lot of people.
So the line starts where this man is standing. This is right.
There's post after post after post after post, and CNN just put out a article. Get your toilet paper before it runs out. Or will it run out? Is this just mass hysteria? Fear-mongering? I don't know what's going on here, folks. But there's post after post. And let me show you an example. There's just posts after posts after posts of people trying to buy toilet paper, or they can't buy toilet paper. There's tweets after tweets after tweets in multiple states. Here in New Jersey, they are panic buying all the toilet paper and paper towels again because of the pending longshoremen strike. Don't they realize paper products are produced in the U.S. and Canada and won't be affected by the strike? They cleaned out the toilet paper at my local Walmart in Virginia. Toilet paper hoarding 2.0. And there goes the toilet paper. Strike. Pork strike. Port strike. No toilet paper. The port strike, combined with Hurricane Helene, is causing problems. I went to Costco before opening to get toilet paper, paper towels, bottled water. They only had 5 packages of toilet paper left by the time I walked up. And it's showing people examples filling their carts. Costco at this very moment in Frisco. I think this is Texas. This is where the toilet paper would be. There you go. The great toilet paper shortage 2.0 has started at Costco. Why Costco? Why Costco? Oh, by the way, I want to play that clip too. It seems like Amazon is about to go on strike. That will combine, that will be a compound of more problems. Now, folks, I went to my local Walmart today and got myself toilet paper. Plenty of toilet paper in Florida. Stocked up. Got enough TP to last me to 2033. I went down the aisles today.
All right, so I am at my neighborhood Walmart. There's plenty of toilet paper here. Look at all this toilet paper. Doesn't look like toilet paper is empty here at Walmart yet. But I suspect, and we'll see. Look at this. Look, the aisles are full of toilet paper.
Plenty of toilet paper.
The other side too, plenty. Who knows? Let me spin the camera around, because in a few days we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back, and you can see here there are plenty of toilet paper. Plenty of toilet paper, and here it is. Plenty of toilet paper. Wondering if you're going to run out of toilet paper. They say there's a toilet paper shortage. Plenty of toilet paper. All right, so JLR investigates. Plenty of toilet paper at Walmart, west coast of Florida, Tampa Bay area. Plenty of toilet paper. Plenty of Bounty. Yes, toilet paper and Bounty. Plenty of it. Let me know what you think. Boots on the ground. JLR investigates. Investigating the toilet paper shortage. Looks good here in Florida thus far. We'll talk soon.
All right. So it looks good. Thank you, Irony Rose, for the 5 gifted memberships. 5 people are lucky to be members of JLR Investigates.
So you can see behind me, this was all supposed to be toilet paper. We sold out of toilet paper by 11:30 a.m. The Kirkland signature stuff, just because of the strike that's happening at the ports. Kind of crazy.
I guess he worked at Costco.
So, good morning. It's 43 in Northwest Ohio. I'm at Costco to get toilet paper because, like I said in my other video, we run out of toilet paper. I don't stock it. I don't hoard it. I didn't even check it until I seen the news said that we're running low on toilet paper. So I pull into the lot. There's cars. There's people at the darn door waiting to get in. Now, are they waiting for toilet paper? Or did they not know that they don't open till 10? Are they like me and just didn't check out to see if they had toilet paper? I don't know. But why are we doing this toilet paper thing again? I'm not understanding. Like, I buy one thing every 3 months of toilet paper. I don't hoard it. And where are you guys storing all this toilet paper? Because my house isn't very big, but I don't have anywhere to store all this extra toilet paper or food. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Well, I know I'm crazy, but maybe I'm just the select few like them that's waiting on toilet paper.
Where are you storing your toilet paper? Where are you guys storing your toilet paper? Check this out. I ain't playing this toilet paper game. I ain't playing the toilet paper game. Look at that. See what I'm saying? I just threw it in. I got so much toilet paper I can last me all the way to TP, last me to 2033. I ain't gonna run out of toilet paper. JLR Investigates, we're safe. You see, and I played into that, but I'm not playing games because with the COVID time, it was rough. And I'm not waiting. Time is our value. Value is time. And I'm telling you, I don't want to wait in 4-hour lines just to get toilet paper. And I don't want to get it to the port, you know. I made a viral video last time with COVID when I was at the Walmart, and literally it said 2 loaves of bread. And I don't want to get to the point where we had to buy like 2 loaves of bread and you only can buy one and one and one and one. They said 2 loaves of bread limit at Walmart, and I actually bought 3 loaves of bread. And I swear to God, and I don't even know if this lady knew I was recording the employee, but as I'm checking out at the self-checkout, the 2 loaves of bread, the lady, the clerk, comes over there and grabs the 3rd loaf of bread from me and says, only 2. And I said, whoa, this is communism. This is crazy that you only can buy, a certain amount of product. But that's where we're headed to, I think. Or is this just overhyped? But it might have something to do with this this longshoremen union that's doing the port stuff. And we played a clip yesterday. I just want to remind you again of this guy here who's the union boss who's striking, and his strategy here is possibly to cripple the whole system.
These people today don't know what a strike is. Right. When my men hit the streets from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
What does that mean to be crippled?
These people today.
Seems like that triggered people to buy toilet paper and other things. See, the toilet paper could be a start. It could start with toilet paper, it could start with water, trash bags, paper towels, and then go to meats, perishable items, car parts, different stuff that actually gets shipped from overseas. This is the second day of this strike. Some people estimate that it's $1 to $5 billion a day in economic loss that's already occurred per day.
Are you worried that this
They have the
strike?
capital to settle this thing.
Are you worried that this strike is going to hurt the everyday American, the farmers that need to reach the export market? They're
Listen,
telling me that they're going to hurt through
Now
all
you
of this.
start to realize who the longshoremen are, right?
Nobody cares.
People never gave a about us until now, when they finally realized that the chain is being broke now. Cars won't come in. Food won't come in. Clothing won't come in. You know how many people depend on our jobs? Half the world. And it's time for them, and time for Washington to put so much pressure on them to take care of us, because we took care of them, and we're here 135 years and brought them where they are today, and they don't want to share.
I mean, I think they mean serious business here, and I don't think they're playing. I don't think this is like a fake strike. I mean, even the guy yesterday. Remember, I interviewed the guy yesterday. I said, "What's your message?" He reads a statement. I went down there to the ports in Tampa, just one of many ports that are out of commission right now, more or less, from the workers. There's robots there, though. There's robots. Their issue's robots too. The robots taking over.
My name is Nicholas Fresco, president of the Clerks and Checkers, Tampa, Florida, along with local 1402, Tampa, Florida, and 2078, Tampa, Florida. And we have a statement, ILA statement on strike. Even though the ILA's members worked tirelessly during the pandemic to ensure the nation's commerce flowed and continue to sacrifice time with their own families so that goods can arrive in the homes of other families throughout the world, still, due to corporate greed, employers refuse to compensate the ILA's members fairly. Over the last several years, the net revenues of these companies have grown astronomically from hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, while the ILA members' wages increases do not even cover the cost of inflation. The ILA is fighting for respect, appreciation, and fairness in a world in which corporations are dead set on replacing hardworking people with automation. Employers push automation under the guise of safety, but it is really about cutting labor costs to increase their already exceptionally high profits.
Yes, sir.
At least 6 years have demonstrated automation cannot outperform the skilled men and women of the ILA. Automation of our nation's ports should be a concern for everyone. The truth is robots do not pay taxes. They do not spend money in their communities. The ILA will continue to fight until the members receive the fair contract they deserve. ILA all the way! 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 ILA all the way!
ILA all the way. That's what they say. ILA all the way. It's what they say.
I've seen a line this long.
And now you got this.
Costco. It's freaking massive.
Costco,
Something's going on.
Walmart's lines have already started.
Look at it, and it even snakes all the way from over there, back there,
But
around.
it's starting with toilet paper, water,
It's gonna take me literally more than a minute to walk all the way down.
paper towel. But what's next?
If there's any good samples.
If this strike continues.
That's nuts.
But think about it, folks. What if things do start running out that are affected from the ports?
And
What happens then? What happens then? This guy put out, he calls them sheeple. He calls them the sheeple. Local sheeple being sheeple after news of the ports closing at Walmart, stockpiling domestic products. Interesting, though, the sudden demand of toilet paper has seemed to be a telltale sign of events in the past. So who knows? And here's examples. Here you go. I bought mine today. I bought my 30 rolls, like 5 things of 30 rolls. Mass panic. Toilet paper. People are buying toilet paper and lots of it. Toilet paper. And if you just go on Twitter right now, just put in toilet paper right now on Twitter, and you're going to see a lot of people buying toilet paper. Every single cart, this was just tweeted earlier, 11:47 a.m. Every single cart at Costco has toilet paper and water, and they're running low on both in stock. And it is so crowded. Is it 2020 all over again? Is it 2020 all over again? Huggies, toilet paper. People are stocking up on toilet paper. What does that all mean? Did you get your toilet paper? I mean, if they're going to strike, they're going to strike. How long will the strike last for? 1977, the strike lasts for 7 weeks. Are we getting into that stage now where it could last past the election? Toilet paper. Are we doing this again? That's what this tweet says. Are we doing this again? Look at that. Looks like someone buying, that's somebody that bought more rolls than me today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe 20 big rolls of bath tissue. Is this fear-mongering? Or is this something else brewing? There's something else brewing. There's something else in the making. I don't know. CNN just put out. CNN. They just put out an article. People are panic buying toilet paper. It just came out like 10 minutes before I went live. People are panic buying toilet paper because of the port strike. There is no need for that, though. That's what CNN says. No need. Toilet paper shortages in stores across America are giving folks nightmarish reminders of the pandemic era, but the lack of toilet paper isn't a direct result of a major port strike. It's because of panic buying. Reports of shortages filled social media Tuesday, showing empty shelves where toilet paper and, to a lesser extent, paper towels were supposed to be. Shelves at Costco and Target running low or out of paper towels in Monmouth County, New Jersey. But the strike at ports from Maine to Texas will have absolutely zero impact on the supply of these products. The overwhelming majority, more than 90% by some estimates, of U.S. toilet paper consumption comes from domestic factories. Most of the rest comes from Canada and Mexico, which means it's most likely arrives by rail, truck, not ship. The American Forest and Paper Association, the trade group representing paper manufacturers, expressed concerns about the impact that the port strike could have on its members, but it cited the risk to its exports to foreign markets being cut off by the strike, not imports. If anything, the strike could result in a glut of toilet paper, not a shortage. But why is everyone getting toilet paper? Why? Will this fade off in the next day? Or is this going to keep going and going and going? Yo, I swear right after COVID, we also had a cat food shortage. I don't know if you guys remember the cat food shortage. Cat food shortage was out there. I couldn't even get cans of Friskies for OJ. OJ shouldn't eat Friskies, but OJ's been used to my cat, OJ. What else is going to be shortage? Gas? Gas. You know what's going on in the Carolinas? Gas. It's one of the reasons why I'm not in the Carolinas now. Gas. This is from the hurricane. This isn't from the strike. Long lines to get gas because of the Hurricane Helene. But I just think it's fishy and funny that this all happened all at once. And funny, and I don't mean funny. I'm poor choice of word there. Weird stuff. Suddenly, you know, around a month before the election. Now, I believe one of the union's spouse came out and said, you know, it's ridiculous to say that we're striking, you know, right after Helene on purpose. They say their contract was scheduled to run out as it was. This contract was scheduled to run out 6 years. It was for 6 years, and it ran out on October 1st. Coincidentally, the hurricane happened a little bit before, and so they're saying it's nothing to do with the hurricane. But just the timing of both is just like boom, boom. Very, very bad. Now, CNBC actually has a report out on what this is interesting. This guy breaks down the port situation and how much economic impact it will have on Americans, your pockets, and people, you know, the products out there available for all Americans. This is a good one right here. This one, he puts it in perspective. I like to hear people's opinions because some think it's bad and some think it's not, and some have a middle ground here. But this is interesting right here.
So as of 12:01 a.m. Tuesday, October 1st, port workers across the eastern United States have gone on strike. These are some of the major ports affected along the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico. And it takes tens of thousands of dock workers to run them. They're the people operating cranes, securing containers, processing paperwork. That all grinds to a halt. Their bosses are reportedly offering a 50% wage increase over the next 6 years, but the union wants 77%. That would put top earners at around the $69 an hour mark in the final year of their contract. 77%, 69 is 77% higher than 39, which is what they currently make. If they can't find a middle ground, if the strike continues, the cost to the American economy is somewhere between $4.5 and $7.5 billion US a week in lost product, lost revenue, and potentially indefinite delays on roughly half of all US ocean imports.
We're also tracking tonight what could be a potentially crippling port strike.
The walkout threatens to disrupt the entire U.S. economy, leading to delays in goods and possible price increases.
But those are just headlines that you'll see on TV or online. To get at the true cost to the U.S. economy, you have to dig a little below the surface. So I'm going to actually do my best not just to throw a bunch of numbers at you because, let's face it, I could tell you that the top 5 negotiating ports handled something like 1.5 million 20-foot equivalent units of volume valued at $83.7 billion US last August, but I've just told you a lot without telling you anything. So instead, consider how almost anything you can think of that's imported is now potentially frozen in time.
Effectively, all 15,000 different types of good categories enter the United States through these ports. It really runs the spectrum of, industrial inputs and materials to, things we eat, fairly frequently.
Bananas, chocolate, dairy, coffee, tea, spices, alcohol, tobacco, clothing, shoes, cars, toys, furniture, and raw materials too, like wood, cotton, and tin. These are the top 25 imported commodities into the U.S. by weight, and you can see the list covers everything from tires to tableware, screws, steel, and space heaters. I heard one analyst tell ABC News that this strike is going to be very disruptive because you can't just take all of this freight and pile it onto planes. You also can't expect West Coast ports to pick up the slack because they're way out of the way. And they can't just double their processing volume overnight. So the way that analyst told it, there is no plan B here. And if the ports shut down, that has a domino effect right on down the line.
You know, if this strike goes on, let's say a couple weeks, you'd start seeing warehouses, laying people off temporarily. Some trucking companies that move freight around the ports would have to start laying off individuals.
Even the food industry that feeds those tens of thousands of dock workers every day.
The East Coast ports are handling about $3 trillion of imports and another $3 trillion of exports every year. So if you think of that's the materials that are supporting the jobs and the imports, and those are the materials that are being produced in the exports, that turns into literally millions and millions of jobs.
Effectively, the entire supply chain gets hit. That has the potential to drive up shipping costs, which then get passed on to you. And this is all very bad news. But right now, no expert that I've heard from said we should all be fearful of some, crazy inflationary spike that'll somehow upend the entire US economy all over again. And I'll explain why. The first thing that's important to mention is that even though US dock workers are on strike, we don't know how long they'll be on strike. And that matters because ports shut down temporarily all the time. Just think of any time there's really extreme weather. You don't just keep working through hurricane force winds, and yet life goes on. So a short strike, say a couple of days, may not be so disruptive.
We know anytime a disruption happens, sort of the initial day or two tends not to be that pronounced with this, but then your amount of disruption starts increasing even more rapidly as time goes on.
And let's say the strike does go on for a long time, several weeks, billions of dollars in the economy lost. Well, a lot of those losses eventually get reversed.
If we have shortages at the retail level, that demand actually isn't going to go away, for example. So if I need to purchase Christmas gifts for my children, just because they're not available in October doesn't mean I won't buy them in November or even December when they're available.
Now, not everything is made whole again. Some goods perish. Fresh produce, dairy. These are things with relatively short supply chains, very time sensitive. Those can be true losses. But as business picks up again, the much more pressing issue becomes how to resolve the backlog, as opposed to whether we see entire companies permanently folding or the price of certain goods permanently going up. And a big reason for that is that many of America's biggest companies saw this coming.
Businesses have also been stocking up on additional inventory in anticipation of a strike.
About the end of July, early August, there was a definite spike in the volume of containers being handled. And that directly attributable to the fact that shipments are being rerouted, shipments are being expedited to bring in additional equipment.
Now, some companies are going to have a harder time than others. Walmart relies heavily on imports, for example. More than half of its goods come in from overseas. A company like Costco, on the other hand, gets its food mainly by land. And that's true for the vast majority of food in the US. The governor of New York is even urging residents, do not stockpile food. Overall, it'll be fine.
We don't think there'll be a disruption to the food supply. We still have plentiful food coming in from Canada, our own state, California, and Mexico. So I just want everybody to not have that the concerns about the food supply as well.
Except bananas. The US barely grows those. So here's the bottom line. Yes, a strike of this magnitude is potentially devastating. We haven't seen a strike like this in almost half a century. But if it's short, the world won't end. And it's worth keeping in mind that the US president has the power to make this a short strike. For the time being, he says he has no plans to intervene. But the law allows him to force workers back to work, suspending the strike for up to 80 days. That's what George W. Bush did 22 years ago after an 11-day strike by West Coast dock workers. Now, there is a political cost to doing this, especially when you need union votes ahead of a presidential election. But the U.S. Chamber of Commerce also has more than a few votes, and they've urged Joe Biden to shut the strike down, calling a disruption on this scale unconscionable.
I like it. I like that report. It kind of puts things into perspective. I thought that would share with that. But what if this isn't short term? It seems like based off that the mob boss that we listened to talking about crippling everybody, I think he's in it for the long run. I really do think he's in it. And the president does have powers to make these workers. It's called the Taft-Hartley Act. The Taft-Hartley Act. Let's get Magnolia in the chat to get some perspective on all of this. We like bringing Magnolia in. We've been talking about this. We call him the mob boss, by the way. That guy, the union boss, mob boss. They say he has like a $700,000 home and a yacht and all types of wild things. Come on in the chat, Magnolia. Hello, Magnolia.
They say he has like a $700,000 home.
Hello.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yeah.
All right, so we got a situation here. Toilet paper shortage. Do you think that will last? And tell us a little bit about what's going on with this Amazon, pending possible Amazon strike.
Yeah, I just saw that this morning. There was, it looked like a rally of Amazon employees, pretty much saying the same type of thing that we've seen from the dock workers. Yeah, someone said not Amazon too. Yeah, I mean, if the Amazon workers go on strike, that would be, I would say, extremely detrimental to the country. I think a lot of people have grown to depend on Amazon for a lot of things. So, you know, it could just be kind of like how it was during COVID. I mean, you could buy what you could find, and a lot of times you just had to give up on certain things that you were used to buying and buy different things. So certain items you couldn't find at all back then.
Well, housing, you know, building materials for homes and stuff like that, we still haven't recovered fully from that. The cost of all those everything went up significantly since 2020. I don't see the cost going down. That's why it costs a lot of money to rebuild homes and build homes now.
Yeah.
And, you know, that could be a problem with the, you know, the recovery right now from this hurricane damage, Helene, you know, and the households that have been affected there. This all could just all be a big giant mess, or it could be nothing of nothing. That's why, you know, that's why we're talking here. What does this all mean? Like, is this mass panic, or is these people justified in going to starting to buy things?
Well, I think it's almost like people kind of follow the leader. You know, a lot of people have pointed out that toilet paper is not something that's imported. It's made in the United States. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to choose that item to hoard right now, because you're talking about imports, and like people said in the chat and other people have pointed out, that's manufactured right here in the country. But it's just the idea that we might be facing shortages, and for whatever reason, toilet paper is like the first sign that there may be shortages coming.
I guess it would be stock up on canned goods, because perishable items can't last forever. Medicines.
Yeah. Well, canned goods. Yeah, I just remember during COVID, there were certain things that I could never find. And I don't know if people remember during COVID using Instacart, because you couldn't go to the store. And it was like fighting for your life in Instacart, because it would be like you would put your list together and submit your order, and then the person would go to the store and you'd have to sit there on your phone and watch, because every single item, they were like replacing every single item on your list because the things you wanted weren't there. And it was like that for a really long time.
Instacart. Yeah, I never really utilized that. That's something you like to use, Instacart, right?
Yeah.
So, so let me ask you something, Magnolia. You know, why now? Like, let me ask you something. Like, these unions, and this particular union involved with the port strike, they have 45,000 members. Do unions majority vote Democratic in an election?
The unions?
Yeah, the union workers. I mean, they
think so.
they encourage. So, you know,
Well, I think it just depends what union it is, because I think a lot of like the police unions, border patrol unions seem to be they seem to be big Trump supporters, but then other unions are different. So I mean, I just think it depends what union you're referring to.
okay, so with this port situation, does this favor a certain candidate if this goes on past the election or around the time? Does this affect voting for a candidate? Like, for instance, like Joe Biden says he's not getting involved. Now, I said there's an act called the Taft-Hartley Act, which gives the president powers to make these people go back to work for at least a few months. But he's saying, the president at this time is saying that he's not intervening.
Yeah, he said that he's going to let them work it out.
But is that for a political reason? To help Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that the timing is really bad in general, because it is only 4 weeks till the election, but it's never good to have turmoil and chaos going into an election. So my opinion, I don't see how it's helpful for anyone.
But I think it would hurt the incumbent more, the incumbent party more. If there's stuff that's off the shelves and panicking and everything like that right before the election, people are going to be like, screw whoever this candidate is, I'm voting for the other person.
Yeah, I mean,
because the economy's all bad.
Yeah. People are saying Temu would be a bad one that would be affected if you buy stuff off Temu or any of these companies that typically ship from China, I guess, would be a problem. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it helps or hurts anybody. Because for one thing, these types of strikes are complicated, and I think it's more complicated than most people understand. A lot of people tend to either say, screw the unions, I hate the unions, they need to go back to work, and then other people are like, we support the workers, So there's usually like a pretty binary split of opinions when it comes to these type of strikes with unions, but I just think that it's a lot more complicated than that, and you kind of have to really study it to understand what's going on. I mean, I can see all sides of it. I can see the perspective of the workers that say, they feel like they did everything they could during COVID. They feel like they helped keep the country running during COVID, and they feel like that they're underappreciated and undervalued and underpaid. And they're also upset about the automation that seems to be increasingly replacing workers. So I understand all of those issues and the things that they're saying, but at the same time, I think some of the demands to most people sound quite extreme. When you're talking about a 77% raise, I mean,
over 5 years,
like that's
or
crazy.
6 years.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really a lot. That just seems almost. I have a hard time thinking that they're anywhere close to making an agreement when you're starting from such a high negotiating point, which, a lot of times in negotiations, you do start with the highest. Like they say, when you go into a job interview, you should say, you should always give them a really high salary and then negotiate from there. And so that's probably what's happening now. They're starting out at the 77% number. But to me, it just seems like they would be very far away from any type of agreement at that figure. So any agreement, I think, would have to be lower than that. But then at the same time, the other side of this is people that are like, you already get paid enough. Go back to work. Stop messing up the country and things like that. So it's a complicated issue, and it has a lot of impact on society. And the early stages we're seeing now is people stocking up on toilet paper again, like it's COVID all over. So yeah, I don't think that people can be like so gung-ho about I'm on this side or that side. I think it's a big problem, and they need to all come to the table and come up with an agreement, and hopefully it can be worked out without this dragging on too long. Because, the first week is like we're seeing people going and getting toilet paper, but then the second week and the third week and the fourth week, it just escalates and it compounds. The issues just keep compounding. So hopefully they can figure something out. But yeah, I mean, if Amazon strikes, that's going to be felt by a lot of people.
Yeah, let me get that clip right here of the Amazon guy. I want to play this. Bear with me here. Let me get this off my other screen. So they're part of a Teamster union. It looks like Teamster Union 89. And let me share this with everyone. This is an individual with this I guess is an Amazon Teamster. Let's hear what they
in the world, but they don't share the wealth with workers that create it for them. Amazon's never going to give us something unless we take it from them.
Right. That's right.
And every single person out here is going to make that happen.
Amazon said in their peak season planning doc, they wanted to give us only 60 cents for a raise this year. Is that acceptable? No. But it's because of workers at DHL, workers at Amazon facilities around the country, and right here at KCBG organizing. That's how we got a more than 100% increase in what they were willing to give.
It's time for us to stand together and continue fighting for what we're worth. It's time to show them just how essential we see ourselves today. Because without us, these profits that Bezos comfortably hoards in his mansion do not exist.
Right.
So it's time to fight, because when Teamsters fight, Teamsters win. And who are we?
Teamsters!
Who are we?
Teamsters!
Who are we?
Teamsters!
All right, Magnolia. What's going on there? Your actually phone is off, Magnolia.
Oh,
go ahead.
I muted it. So, yeah, it seems like just from that little clip, it seems like their demands are
Wages.
a little more reasonable. I mean, he was saying that Amazon was trying to give them only a 60-cent raise, which I think anyone would be insulted by. And they want bigger raises. Amazon has a history of complaints by workers let's not forget that. There's been a lot of exposés regarding Amazon, how the workers are treated. When they're on those warehouse floors, they're timed. Everything they do is timed very strictly, even going to the bathroom. There's a lot of history there with the way they treat their employees. And I think that some of that has possibly improved over the last few years, just because these unions did start to form. Because in the beginning, there were no Amazon unions. The unions formed over the last several years in various places where Amazon has these facilities. So I think some of that has been addressed, but Amazon in general has had a few black marks on their reputation as to how they treat employees. So I say give Amazon workers a raise and let's get back to work. That's what I say.
Yeah, but Magnolia, then you might have other union workers and everything and demanding their increase, and I mean, if you're going to increase everybody, wouldn't that be cause inflation? Higher wages? More layoffs?
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, but again, it's like you're talking about these multi-billion-dollar corporations, and it's a fact that the CEOs and the people in charge are the ones raking in all the money. That's just a simple fact. Yeah, Bezos was the wealthiest person in the world, and he rivals Elon Musk. as the wealthiest person in the world. So the argument is that he's making all this money. He's a billionaire. Surely he could afford to pay the workers more money. And it's kind of hard to disagree with that. And yeah, I mean, people are pointing out in the chat, it's like I said before, people tend to have a very binary opinion on unions, but unions aren't all bad and they're not all good either. I mean, it's like anything else. You have problems with anything, you know. It's human nature is found everywhere, and that includes in unions. So, you know, in some ways it definitely protects workers, and they want to get the best for their workers, and that's their job. That's the role that they play. But sometimes I think the unions can get a little bit out of hand. I sort of take issue with this guy that's leading the dock workers strikes. That clip that you keep playing of him where he's like, "I'll cripple you." I mean, that comes off to me like a threat. Like it's a threat to the country, because the country is not the ones, like, we're not the ones that aren't paying them what they want to be paid. Like, I don't have anything to do with what they're being paid. Why is he threatening me as a citizen? I just think that the way he's talking is pretty incendiary, and I think you could probably lower that temperature a little bit, but to sit there and kind of almost like brag that they have the power to cripple us and say things like that. I mean, those are very harsh words, and a lot of people aren't taking too kindly to that. So I think there's a way to approach it where you're not threatening to cripple the whole country, while still illustrating the importance of longshoremen.
Well, let me talk longshoremen. Can they be replaced? Like, basically, can these docks just say, screw you people, and just bring in other temp workers to do their jobs?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like, just say, okay, you guys don't want to come to work. You guys are a union. We'll just hire a bunch of temp people and come on in. Can they legally do that?
Why wouldn't they hire immigrants?
Hire whoever wants a job.
Why wouldn't they hire immigrants?
Yeah, some people.
And the next thing you know, those people don't have a job to go back to. I mean, that would be my concern. Now, I know that the unions do protect against that to a certain degree, but you know, what happens if they do decide to go with temporary workers and then turn them into permanent workers?
Well, I remember like UPS and DHL and those other things. They hire temp workers for the holidays to help them, you know, with the holiday load, and then they're specifically hired for like 3 months, and then, you know, the first they're gone.
Yeah.
Wouldn't these people be able to just do the same thing and just say, hey, you a temp worker, come?
I think if they did replace, I mean, I think it should be expected that they'll replace with some temp workers, but I think if they tried to permanently replace all of those union workers, there would be a lot of lawsuits involved. A lot of legal problems would spring up. So I definitely think they could utilize temporary workers, though. I just don't know the legalities of being able to permanently replace all those people that are protected by the union.
Well, even though, you know, the president apparently has powers under the Taft-Hartley, I'm just thinking like, you know, maybe in a week he change his tune and say, hey, I'm forcing you all back. This is too much.
Who, the leader?
Basically, the president of the United States has the power to force these people apparently back to work for a short period of time under this act called the Taft-Hartley Act. And I don't know much about Taft-Hartley, but I keep hearing it. And it's giving the president powers.
Yeah.
To bring these people back. Temporary. Like, for like 90 days or something like that.
Yeah, if he has that power, he's not using it. At least not now. He pretty much said he's going to allow these corporations and the unions to work it out. he's really not going to intervene. Now, I mean, that could change if this goes on for several weeks. But, you know, again, the election is in 4 weeks. So what's he really going to do?
This is what one of the issues I saw. No automation. Automation. I keep seeing automation in these signs, right? And this tweet here kind of shows the robots at these docks, and they're like doing human work. And it says this guy put out this port strike worker shows us what they are really fighting for. And let me turn up the volume here. I'm going to get the volume up, and I want to show this here because it's like robots.
I'm a longshoreman for LA Long Beach, and LA is fighting against this right here. I'll tell you right now. See that? There's nobody there. Automation. I work at an automated dock. It's no joke. They're losing thousands of jobs. So you got all these machines. Look at all these machines right here. There's no people. They ain't paying no taxes. They ain't paying no money. This is what ILA is fighting about. This all used to be filled with top handlers, UTR drivers, clerks, all this yard. Look how big this yard is. And there ain't hardly any people on this thing. This is what they're fighting about. I work at an automated dock right here, Port of LA, Long Beach. Keep fighting, brothers. Keep fighting.
So it's like robots. They're saying the robots don't pay taxes. Are you there?
Yeah, and the robots don't have families to feed either.
So they're like shortchanging the workers. Is that the future? Just having robots go over there and unload the stuff and just kick people out of that career?
Well, I think any corporation will take steps that they see fit to increase efficiency and productivity. So if robots can do that, then they'll bring in robots. There's, Amazon uses robots too. So
drones too. Now they're doing drones to deliver the packages.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard. I always say people are always saying like, we need to stop this from happening, or we need to make sure this doesn't happen. But the reality is it already has happened. We are already seeing automation replace jobs all over the place. Look at McDonald's, the kiosk that you go and order. I mean, when's the last time we went up to the counter at McDonald's to place an order? I mean, you walk in, you push the buttons on the screen, and that's that. So, the robots, the computers, the automation, the AI, I mean, it's already here. So it's kind of hard to say, oh, we can't have robots, because what are you going to do? Like, destroy all the robots? I don't think so.
Yeah, this is just showing an example. Just these like machines and robots and weird stuff like moving around. Look at that. That's like,
Tom Space said robots will unionize.
Yeah, the robots will unionize. Look at that.
Wait until the robots are fully integrated with AI and they fight back.
It's scary stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, all that stuff's already there, and this is just one aspect. You're talking about robots on a dock. But there's robots everywhere. I mean, AI platforms have pretty much taken over the internet. So many things that are done with AI now that would take a person forever to do. So, the stuff, it's already here. So I think rather than say we need to end automation or end robots, I mean, I think a better way to go forward would be like, how can humans be used how can robots and automation actually complement what a human worker is doing rather than take their job completely?
ILA member, I mean, in some of the ports, like the one I went to yesterday, there was about 50 people, but the ones up there in the Northeast, I mean, there's hundreds out there. This is day 2. Automation hurts families. ILA stands for job protection. Because
we even have. They pointed out we even have robot vacuums now. The Roomba.
Oh yeah, the Roomba.
That doesn't take a human to operate. You just push the button and it just does it for you.
Hey, I got a robot that cleans my pool.
Yep.
I'm not really
Yeah.
a pool cleaner. I'm not a pool
Yeah.
cleaner. One of the striking points in the ILA strike is how automation threatens future generations of longshore workers. They say no to automation. Huh. Anything else you'd like to add, Magnolia? I want to play another clip because Fox has a really good clip about this whole situation. I see some of these mainstream media are talking to it and giving their perspective, and it's good to get what they want the public to know about this situation. We got to see it a little bit by being there, down there, and talking to the workers down there. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think, people, we've said this, toilet paper is manufactured in the United States, but a lot of people are going into panic mode. So unfortunately, if this continues, everyone's going to have to stock up on those items. Miss Lippy said in the Shreveport, Louisiana area, shelves are empty with toilet paper and bottled water. So those seem to be the two biggest items that people are going to be hoarding. So unfortunately, the fact that you have people hoarding that stuff means you're going to have to go get some too. Otherwise, you won't have it. So I think that's kind of the stage we're in right now. We'll keep an eye on it and see how long this goes on. And I really hope the Amazon situation gets resolved.
Look at these ports: Houston, New Orleans, Mobile, Tampa Bay, Miami, Jacksonville, Savannah, Charleston, Wilmington, North Carolina, Norfolk, Virginia, Baltimore, Philly, New York, and Boston. These are major ports, folks. It's the eastern part of the United States, east of the Panama Canal. I mean, it's affecting commerce in the billions and billions a day. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen here? Appreciate your insight, Magnolia.
Keep an eye on it.
Thank you, Magnolia.
All right.
So I want to play this last clip with the Fox News clip. Keep people informed. We got to pay attention here, folks. Pay attention because I don't know where this takes us. I really don't. I got up this morning and had to go get toilet paper. Only because I saw the mass pay. And I'm like, I'm not getting involved with this stuff. I'm just going to stock up on toilet paper, keep that stuff in my closet, and, use it. And hopefully it lasts 3 months. And maybe in 3 months down the line, in the new year, this whole case will, this whole situation will be resolved. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to be resolved and what's not. Because everything seems like it keeps compounding. Pretty soon, I think the gas prices are going to shoot back up for some reason. We got an election coming up. I don't even know what's going to happen with that. I still think there won't be an election. That's my prediction. Or I think either party's not even going to accept defeat. And then we're going to be at some sort of lock standstill, some crazies. I don't know. But let me give you a little bit more about this union port stuff. This is coming from Fox. It's a news report. It's about 10 minutes, but it's pretty good. It tells you everything in depth about this whole situation.
So it is darkness and things happen after dark. We know that. War happens after dark. I will also speak with Republican Congressman Brian Mast, who volunteered with the Israeli Defense Force. Stay tuned for that. Fox News alert now. Americans are already struggling under the crushing weight of high prices on everything, especially food. And now, bracing for the effects of a massive port strike. It's on. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Tens of thousands of dock workers from Maine to Texas are picketing for the first time since 1977. Their contract expired at midnight. They want big wages and guaranteed job protection from automation. Because when things are automated, you need less human beings. The Port Workers Union chief negotiator, well, he has a lot to say and he doesn't hold back.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, Be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are.
Well, he's not wrong about getting us our stuff and how critical a role they play. We could really feel this. And how we got here, where is the White House? You fight when you have to at the White House to keep stuff like this from happening. Is Biden, is Kamala Harris, are they up to the fight? Let's take a look at the crisis that's upon us now, because this administration is almost famous for how many times they can let a crisis happen because things went on too long without leadership. Some 45,000 dock workers at 36 ports from Maine to Texas are on strike today. A JP Morgan analysis found this could cost the U.S. economy $5 billion a day. Major retailers to small businesses are also preparing for supply chain disruptions. We could see shortages of some critical items, medical equipment, vehicles, food, clothing. And if you think the inconvenience is going to be bad, imagine how you're going to have to pay for those few things that are coming through. Stuff's going to get higher if this goes on too long. Despite all of it, though, President Biden says, well, nothing. He's on the sidelines. The White House has said he would not invoke Taft-Hartley Act. That act allows the president to order an 80-day cooling off period. That gets us way beyond the Christmas holidays and into the new year for a fresh look at what the union and the corporations are fighting about. That would avert a strike at this point. The White House, well, playing dodgeball, you know how it goes. Let's watch.
At what point would the president be willing to intervene? How long would he allow that to go on, and at what cost to the
I'm not going to
American
get into
economy?
hypotheticals. I'm not from here.
Would the president consider walking the picket line?
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. We believe that collective bargaining is important here. We've always said that. We believe that both sides should come to the table in good faith and get to an agreement, a fair agreement.
I thought she said she wasn't going to go into details. Fox Business's Grady Trimble is at the port of Baltimore, one of the many that we depend so much on. Grady.
And Harris, just to set the scene for you today, there are around 2,400 International Longshoremen Association members at this particular port. You can see a group of them on the picket lines in the rain, not deterred at all by that. 45,000 members across ports from Texas all the way up to Maine on strike right now. And what that means for you and me is, well, you can see the effects of this strike. These cranes you see in the background are the cranes that these men and women would typically be operating, but they've walked off the job and now they are at a standstill. That means products coming into the United States from all over the world are also at a standstill. Our colleague Lydia, who spoke to the president of the ILA, the International Longshoremen Association, this morning, he's praising the Biden-Harris administration, in particular the acting labor secretary, Julie Su, for encouraging the two sides to come together to negotiate. But the problem is a whole host of industry groups say that the Biden-Harris administration isn't doing enough. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the National Retail Federation, wholesalers, they're all saying that the administration should invoke the Taft-Hartley Act that you mentioned, so these workers have to stay on the job while negotiations continue. Take a listen to the American Trucking Association CEO placing a lot of the blame on President Biden and the Biden-Harris administration for this walkout.
It's the job of the president and this administration to bring two parties together when they can't reach an agreement, to mediate. They're not doing that. They're encouraging this strike. By revoking the option of Taft-Hartley, you're encouraging this union to strike and shut down this economy when our southeast United States is recovering from a natural disaster. This is the worst time to have 36 ports shut down our economy.
Yeah, and it also comes as inflation has been cooling, but the concern here is that this strike could lead to higher prices yet again, especially if it lasts a while. As far as the cost of it to the U.S. economy, J.P. Morgan has a very high estimate at around $4.5, maybe even $5 billion a day. Anderson Economic Group is putting the cost on the lower end, but it's still $2.1 billion in the first week, and they say it's only going to get worse as the supply chains grind to a halt and the products coming in aren't able to get unloaded from ships. Some of the big companies that are reliant on these imports are companies like Walmart, Costco, LG Electronics, IKEA. The list goes on, and it's only going to get worse, Harris, if this strike goes on.
Grady Trimble, great reporting out there. Thank you. I know you're talking to so many people. That is very helpful. Charles Payne is here, host of Making Money. This feels like Bidenomics and extending of all that had gone wrong with decision making and not understanding the pain that people feel with pricing, that they would not have fought harder to keep this from happening.
You're absolutely right, because the nomics part of it has always been missing.
And it's the Biden. That's good. I see what you did there.
The entire agenda has been driven about who you want to favor. And for the most part, the Biden administration has favored the elites, the wealthy, and
the
of course, the Biden. The whole agenda.
And the Kamala Harris's.
The Biden-Harris agenda has favored and rewarded the wealthiest people in this country, and of course, unions. But the president, to say he doesn't believe in intervening, particularly on the heels of this storm over the weekend, is really mind-boggling. I mean, we're talking about these ports handle $3 trillion a year. One report does say it could be $600 million a day. And this adds up very, very quickly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it said $2.1 billion by the end of this week.
Right. And again, there's separate. But here's the thing: we also have to realize there's a compounding effect to it. Right. One day equals 5 days of repercussions. Right. 1 week. 1 day means the supply chain could get backed up for 1 week. These numbers start to add up, just as we were coming out of a supply chain crisis, and to do it at such a vulnerable time. Again, the lowest parts of our economic strata are going to get hurt the most. And listen, it may seem frivolous of all the things that I heard that were named off, from pharmaceuticals to automobiles, but this will be it. I mean, if it lasts too long, there won't be toys for Christmas.
Well, look, let's just pause for a second about what's on those containers right now. Food is on those containers. Now, maybe some of those things can sit. That food can't wait.
Like all the bananas, the perishables.
Do you know how expensive a banana is about to become?
Yeah. It's really amazing.
So how long does it take before, and real quick, because I want to move on, Commerce Secretary, I want to get to something she said. How long before we really start to see those things, though? Do we have a month or two?
Not a month. I think we see them in weeks.
All right. Commerce Secretary
Yikes.
Gina Raimondo did an interview yesterday, but not as Commerce Secretary. She appeared as a Kamala Harris campaign surrogate hours before the strike began.
Where have you been kind of focused and hearing on what would happen if the strike goes, let's say, longer than a week?
Again, I have not been very focused on that. I would refer you to the White House or the Transportation Secretary.
Refer you to the White House? I mean, that's where Kamala Harris is working now as VP. What is she talking about?
For a split second, she was going to say, I refer you to the Commerce Secretary, but hold on, wait a minute. That's me. I posted on X yesterday. It's been a tight race for the most incompetent person in this administration, but in the last 2 weeks, I feel like that she has kind of taken the lead over maybe Pothole Pete. It's really it's an embarrassment. This is her job.
But it's dangerous.
Of course it's dangerous. And it gets back to what I said in the very beginning of our conversation. There's never been a focus on economics. There's never been a focus on commerce. Everything has been a focus on their agenda from day one. And there's a massive indifference to Americans.
Talk to me about, though, and we won't get into the details of the Taft Act, but Biden could have dealt with this. We've known about this for weeks.
7 decades has been in place.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he knew weeks ago that he was on the precipice,
right.
And everybody knew they were dealing with Harold Daggett,
right.
the head of that union.
Right.
I mean, come on, he just got reelected. He's not going anywhere. He knows he's a man in his power, as they like to say colloquially. So with all of that, Biden just sat by? Kamala Harris just sat by?
Yeah, they just sat by and maybe even...
and let Rome burn.
Well, spoiling for a fight. Maybe, hey, you know what? We're out there fighting for unions. Make sure you get out there in November and fight for us. That kind of campaign sloganeering kind of stuff that they like to do more than actually, get things done for the nation. I mean, this isn't...
Protect.
This isn't about what side of the aisle you're on. We're talking about our economy. We're talking about a vulnerable time for our economy. Right. Already, trucks were not taking some of the perishables you talked about. To your point, everyone in the industry saw this coming. And they also saw the fact that the White House was going to do nothing about it.
You mentioned Hurricane Helene. I mean, we need all hands on deck to get stuff to where it needs to go now. This is a dereliction of duty on their part. And I read today from the White House that they are working 24 hours a day. I wish we had 39-hour days at this point. Make them work harder.
Absolutely.
Charles Payne, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my...
Pretty good report. Yeah, they're biased against the Biden administration. You know, we try to hear both sides on JLR Investigates, but it does put a lot into perspective. How long is this going to last, folks? That's the question. Toilet paper shortage. What's next? Building supplies. Here's where I see another potential problem. We had a devastating hurricane that came through. We have lots of homes and lots of businesses that were destroyed or damaged. Those businesses are going to have to be repaired. Those places are going to have to be repaired. And if you have a shortage of lumber and building equipment, how are they going to get repaired if the docks and the ports, they're not working because of the strike? We have devastation in the Carolinas. What? I think it's going to go beyond toilet paper. Cars, vehicles. A lot of cars and vehicles got destroyed. I mean, cars. I mean, prices. I mean, to me, I think this is going to be inflation. It's inevitable. It's going to go up. Maybe it won't if this ends in a couple days, but that union boss, man, I'm telling you, that union boss, I don't think he's flinching. I don't think basically he's one of those guys at Vegas, and he got all his chips in on this. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tries to knock him off on the government level, because he's just so entrenched in his beliefs. But we'll see what happens here, man. Scary stuff ahead. Toilet paper shortage. Thanks for watching this particular segment. JLR Investigates. Yeah, that's pretty much the latest on day 2. I'll continue to give you updates if there's more chaos, fights in the lines. A lot of times when you got these shortages, and then when they do put out a pallet of toilet paper, it's kind of like Black Friday, and everyone's rushing and fighting each other just for a thing of toilet paper. So we might be seeing some internet fights, some toilet paper fights, like Black Friday fights coming up and things like that. So pray for everyone, man. I hope you're safe where you're at, and I hope you're stocked up, and stay vigilant, my friends. The more information that's out there, the more we're aware. So hopefully I made a difference today, let some insight and brought some insight to you that you didn't know. I'm still learning the process. I'm not an expert on this. I'm just, sharing and processing and sharing what's out there and seeing it how I see it, and you might see it a different way, but I think we have a problem. We have a big problem. But there could be solutions too. So this could be just a blip on the radar, or it could be something bigger. Just stay vigilant, my friends, and stay safe. JLR Investigates. We cover national news, breaking news, boots on the ground, and true crime 24/7, 365. Hit that sub button. Thank you, members. Thank you, subs. Thank you for the gifted memberships. And another storm's coming in the Gulf of Mexico. Might be storm chasing that one. I might be just going around. It looks like it's a rainmaker, but a lot of the ground is saturated in Florida, particularly Sarasota. I'm a little concerned about this storm that might be coming in the Tampa Bay area, maybe a little bit south in Sarasota. They already got 10 inches of rain before in a prior storm recently. I mean, the ground is saturated. So let's pray that there's no more flooding and storm surge. Something is brewing, though. And whatever happens next, you'll hear it here on JLR Investigates. Have a good day, everyone. We'll talk soon. Have a good day.